units continue to pursue mercenary terrorists in various Syrian cities. The people of Aleppo repel terrorists, and the armed forces declare Khan al-Asal a safe area. And the European Union demands Erdogan to release the detained journalists. The mercenary terrorists backed by the Wahhabi bands perpetrate a new massacre against civilians and military men who were abducted in Saraqib town in Idlib countryside, and the UN's Higher Commission for Human Rights condemned the massacre. More about that in the following.
Amnesty admitted that this barbarian act amounts to a war crime, describing the video as shocking. The English website Idlib al-Haqiqa, Idlib the Truth, said the victims of this massacre were from Al-Raqqa province, based on the insults by the terrorists against other massacred people and the people of Al-Raqqa, adding that the terrorist group that perpetrated the crime carried out the orders given by the Qatari regime and the Turkish intelligence, and that this group belongs to the Muslim Brotherhood. The question is, what impact will this horrible massacre have on the UN and Amnesty, and how will they react? The answer is already known by those who know well how these organizations are run. Nothing can be described the horrible massacre perpetrated by the mercenary terrorists, and one stands speechless to describe what really happened and was documented. 28 civilian and military men have been savagely massacred in Saraqib city in Idlib province, in line with the terrorist Wahhabi manner in killing that is always preceded by the words "God is the greatest," and in a similar way to all previous massacres perpetrated by these terrorists, who have proved in deeds that they had no morals and they are a mere tool in the hands of Turkish, Qatari and Saudi regimes.
A unit of the Syrian army and armed forces, in addition to security members at Daftanaz airport in Idlib countryside, confronted several armed terrorist groups which attacked the airport with heavy weapons and mortars. An official source said that the armed forces killed a large number of terrorists and destroyed their vehicles, which were equipped with machine guns, in addition to destroying a weapons carrier. For the second successive day, the armed forces, in cooperation with residents of Harem city, repelled infiltration attempts of armed terrorist groups to enter Harem castle, killing scores of terrorists. And in Aleppo, army units continued to pursue and storm terrorist hideouts, killing a large number of terrorists, destroying their cars and equipment. An official source in the city said that an army unit targeted a terrorist den in Kafr Hamra, destroying 2 cars and killing the terrorists inside it. In Tel al-Na'mi, the armed forces destroyed 3 cars equipped with machine guns. Another army unit destroyed terrorist cars near the industrial zone. In Khan al-Asal in Aleppo countryside, the armed forces managed to clear the area from mercenary terrorists and destroy security and stability to citizens. Several terrorists were arrested in the area. An army unit stormed into terrorist gatherings in Al-Hujayra area in Damascus countryside, killing many of the terrorists and injuring others who were carrying out acts of killing and sabotage against citizens. An official source said that the armed forces destroyed the terrorists' equipment, including 2 cars supplied with medium weapons. In Homs, an army unit confronted a terrorist group who launched RPG shells against Al-Msherfi in Homs countryside, killing and wounding most of the terrorists. A source in the city said that another army unit destroyed a car equipped with Dushka machine gun that was used by terrorists to carry out sabotage acts against locals in El-Jbeira in the countryside of the city. Security forces foiled the attempt of a suicide terrorist who was wearing an explosive belt and riding a motorcycle to blow himself up in Al-Asa Square in Hama city. A source in the city said that security forces arrested terrorist Omar Rihawi and dismantled the explosive belt, in addition to seizing a grenade and 2 pistols which were on him. Meanwhile, security forces clashed with an armed terrorist group which was looting and committing sabotage acts in the Tremse town in Mhardhi area in the countryside of Hama. A source in the city said that the clash resulted in the killing of a number of terrorists, among them terrorist Murad Ibrahim Ghabi, one of the most dangerous terrorists in the area. An army unit clashed with an armed terrorist group which committed killing and sabotage acts in Sitte El Aruba Street in Deir ez-Zor city, killing a number of terrorists and injuring others. The body of terrorist Muhammad Ghannam al-Hwedi, nicknamed Abu Omar al-Dairi, was identified among the dead. And in Dar'a, an army unit clashed with a terrorist group in Al-Ghariya Al-Gharbiya village, killing most of its members. 2 terrorists were arrested. A source in the city said that a group of terrorists opened fire against a Jordanian car parked near Al-Kuwait, a hotel on Damascus Road, wounding the 2 citizens inside it. Another terrorist group attacked Saida Secondary School in Dar'a countryside. In Al-Harra, an army unit killed all members of the terrorist group who tried to attack a checkpoint for the law enforcement forces. The Austrian TV website published a report in which it referred to the increase of the extremist and fundamentalist groups in Syria, indicating the different sources of support they receive. The report said that the armed opposition is still divided and the armed groups lack political and military leadership. It said that the armed groups in Syria are divided into a category of extremists linked to Al-Qaeda, the so-called Free Army, and other groups that include non-Syrian and mercenary gunmen. The report said that Obama administration offered logistic and financial support for these groups. Dr. Ahmed Abu Saeed, representative of the International Human Rights Commission in the Middle East and member of the International Parliament for Peace and Security, has held those countries that back terrorists responsible for the bloodshed in Syria. In an interview with the Syrian Arab television, Abu Saeed pointed out that Qatar, Saudi Arabia and Turkey were involved in what is going on in Syria, adding that Qatar's and Saudi Arabia's involvement in the Syrian crisis was evident and that these countries expressed this plainly via media outlets. Abu Saeed expressed sorrow and condemned this involvement, demanding these countries to stop it. He concluded by saying that the UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon's call to help providing any support to the armed groups should not be restricted to Qatar and Saudi Arabia, but also to Turkey, that might be involved more than any other party before today and tomorrow in bloodshedding in Syria. Following a meeting between the Russian president's special envoy to the Middle East, Deputy Foreign Minister Mikhail Bogdanov, and Chinese ambassador in Moscow, Li Hui, the Russian Foreign Ministry issued a statement in which the 2 countries stressed the need to resolve the crisis in Syria quickly on the basis of Geneva Declaration, which was approved unanimously by the Work Group on Syria. The EU Journalist League demanded the Turkish government to release the Turkish journalists imprisoned due to their activities and end The EU Journalist League demanded the Turkish government to release the Turkish journalists immediately due to their activities and demanded Recep Tayyip Erdogan's government to stop using anti-terrorism laws against journalists, the Federation said in a letter to the Turkish ambassador at the European Union, calling on the Turkish government to release the imprisoned journalists on their professional activities. They are 76 journalists, and the need to end the use of anti-terrorism laws against journalists, which is being used in a flagrant violation of the Article 10 of the European Human Rights Convention in France. 3 union members of the European Union invited the wife of the Turkish imprisoned journalist Sunar Yalicin, who is in Silivri prison since 2 years, to participate in the European Days for the Defense of Press, which is organized by European Federation for Journalists and includes 130,000 journalists from 30 countries in the world, in solidarity with the Turkish journalists, that will take place on the 5th of November. With this, we come to the end of our news. For more details, you can visit our website in English, www.syriaonline.sy. Stay with us after the break. Khaled Sakabani has the latest in economy.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. The Seed Propagation Foundation began to distribute wheat seeds in Daraa among the farmers in the preparation for the current winter season. This is being done according to the new agricultural regulations set by the Agricultural Department in Daraa, adding that this is based on the needs of each land. The department is now making these seeds available in all of its warehouses at good prices. The preliminary estimates conducted by the Directorate of Agriculture and Agrarian Reform in the city of Tartus put this year's olive harvest at 106,000 tons of fruits and 18,000 tons of olive oil, as there are about 253 olive pressers in the province. The number of the olive trees are put at 11 million trees on a total area of 737,000 hectares. Oil fell to the lowest level in almost 4 months on the speculation that the shutdown of the refineries in the U.S. East Coast because of the Hurricane Sandy will add to the already ample supplies. The Standard & Poor's 500 index is up as the market reopened after the hurricane. The European stocks advanced to a 2-week high as a report showed that hiring in the U.S. last month increased more than forecast. The Asian stocks are also up this week, led by Hong Kong-listed Chinese companies. Gold traders were the most bullish during the past 10 weeks, and investors are holding a record amount of bullion as the central banks pledge to do more to spur the economic growth. Now, ladies and gentlemen, over to the exchange rates according to the bulletin that is being issued by the Central Bank of Syria. With this, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of our news bulletin for today. Thank you for joining us.